Folks, how are ya? Welcome to the Woods Miller channel. So today's video, we're just looking at the Stihl HT 135 pole saw. So whether you're in the market for a pole saw, maybe this video will help you out. You know, there's a few things to consider when you're, getting a pole saw. It depends. Is it homeowner use or business use? That could affect, the model that you might pick, the displacement, the power of the model you might pick, whether it's gas powered or battery powered, how much is it going to be used? So, with a homeowner grade, you might get away with, something a little bit cheaper and not as much power kind of thing, right? If you're looking commercial, then obviously you want a little more power in the saw, right? Commercial grade, it's going to cost more, but it's kind of what you need to go with, for heavier use. So anyway, the Stihl HT 135 is a heavier commercial grade pole saw. So let's take a look. Okay, so here she is. Okay, so the Stihl HT 135. It's just over 36 cc's, so good power saw, right? So I just got this saw this year, and I run a tree service, so I've been using it business use, commercial use for this season. I pretty much use this saw I use it a lot, probably numerous times a week, I would say. Some jobs it's heavily used depending on the job, right? So yeah, power, great power, 36 cc's, even extended out, whatever. Cutting big fat limbs, just laser beaming them off. This thing weighs in at, I think it's just over 17 pounds. So to some people that might be a lot. To me, it's not really a big factor. I don't really care too much. I mean, yeah, it's nice to use light saws here and there, but ultimately performance to me is number one. So all I really care about is, reaching, substantial size limbs, being able to reach those and then being able to cut them with power, precisely and quick. So this saw easily does that. So it's 9 feet long from basically the power head there, to the tip. I think I went to the tip of your bar. So tip of a 12-inch bar. And then with the extension out, it's got a 4-foot extension. So when that's maxed out, okay, so there's max extension there. So yeah, so like I was saying, 4-foot shaft extension here. So on top of the 9, which was from the end of the power head to the tip of the saw, so 13 feet end to end when it's fully extended. So she's got pretty good reach, and the power is absolutely sufficient. Again, a nice sturdy unit, nice thickness of shaft, right? It's got sort of minimal flex, so it's nice and sturdy. I like this grip that's on there. It adds almost even a little bit more beef to it, and it's good grip even when wet. You've got good grip on there. So, like I say, just over 17 pounds. I mean, it's not an issue for me. Like some people, the weight could be an issue. Like I was saying, I just need a saw to cut. That's really all I care about. Does it have the power to make the cuts that you need to make? So the saw is going to do it. So you can extend it out, right? The extension size of the shaft is pretty good. So I don't know if I can get that on here, but if I shake this around, it's quite stable. There's not really much of any flex in it at all. So that's good. You don't want, you know, a flimsy pole flopping around when you're trying to make a cut, right? So, you know, I mean, there's some jobs I'm using this thing all day long, and you know, that's fine with me. So, you know, it's maybe a little bulky for someone that's, if you got to take it super far up a tree, maybe, you know, something a little lighter, compact is what you'd want to use, right? This is a good sort of lower to the ground, sort of a base pole saw, you know, getting stuff from the ground, getting stuff off a orchard ladder, you know, working with bigger branches down low. This is a saw that you want. If you need something going way up in a canopy where you're going to have usually a lot of times smaller branches anyway, you know, you don't need quite this much of saw. You can get away with something less power, a little bit lighter, right? Maybe even a battery operated. So like I was saying, I just got this one this year. I had a Stihl pole saw. I don't remember what model it was, but it was gas. I purchased that thing in probably about 2005 or so. So I don't remember what model. It was a great saw, and I had it for probably a decade or so and ended up selling it. But the extension on that one, this saw feels probably a little beefier, a little sturdier than the older version. The only real difference I can sort of pick out from the older model that I had would be regarding the telescopic shaft part. I think this shaft is a little bit beefier, but also the lock is different. I remember the lock that I had on my old saw, which I kind of actually I almost maybe sort of preferred over this. Yeah, so the main difference, other than probably shaft thickness, I'm pretty sure this is beefier. And then the telescopic shaft, I think this is maybe just a touch beefier. But the main difference, like I'm saying, was this clamp. So it's got a clamp on this model, this newer model here. I like it and I don't. If I had to pick one thing I kind of don't like about this saw, it's this. And it's only because I like the feel of it and like the ease of it. I really do like that. The only part I don't like is it tends to come loose. And I noticed that early on after purchasing this saw, probably within the first job or two that I did. And say the first job, I was like, well, I just didn't tighten enough or whatever. And, you know, started to make sure I do it up tight or whatever, right? But after the more and more jobs I did, I just realized like this thing just works itself loose. So It's kind of annoying. I mean, it's not the end of the world, but it does, it will. So you're out there cutting and you're extended, and then all of a sudden, you know, you're back down a foot. So then you gotta like bring it back and, you know, re-get your length and tighten it down again. So like I was saying, not a huge deal, but you know, when you're spending $1,000 on a saw, and from a, you know, renowned company like Stihl, you know, you expect more, right? You expect tools to be dialed in perfect. So like I was saying, I kind of like this. I like the feel of it and sort of the ease of that, but I don't like how it comes loose. So on the older model that I had, if you're familiar with the older ones before these, it was just like a little plastic knob, and that thing was easy. And I don't remember, and I had that thing for well over a decade. I don't remember it once ever coming loose and the shaft, you know, slipping in. So yeah, I'm not sure how long they've been out with this newer style of clamp here. I'm guessing if it has this issue, it's fairly new. So if they can just work on making sure that that stays tighter, or it's got another locking clamp so it can't come loose, you know, maybe a small little addition like that would go a long way. But other than that, it's a great saw. It feels good in the hands. It's got great power. It's sturdy. Say a model like this, it depends how much cutting you're gonna do, right? So obviously a tree service, or someone with a lot of property that does a lot of, you know, cleanup on it, you know, this might be worthwhile for you too. It's definitely not just a saw for a homeowner that's just going to do a couple branches here and there. I wouldn't see the point in spending the money on this unless you have extra money to just spend, like, then go for it, right? Anyway, folks, that's a quick little rundown and review on the Stihl HT 135. So I'm going to give it a thumbs up. You know, you can't go wrong with Stihl. And this thing is going to last me, you know, the rest of my career. I'm probably going to go with a battery option in the near future too. I mean, I love the gas power saws and that, but the battery options are nice too. They're a little bit, well, they can be lighter. They're not always lighter. A little more compact sometimes, right? Let's say like the battery option that I saw when I was looking at this, they were a lot narrower, smaller power head on them. So a little more sleek, eh? So, you know, so that something like that would be good for, you know, taking up into a tree canopy, getting into tight spaces, right? Something you gotta, you know, carry up with you as you go. So this one's a little bulky to be carrying up a tree, you know, unless you're working with a ground crew and they can stick it on a rope and you can pull it up or something like that, you know, that might help. But anyway, yeah, HT 135. So hope this video, you know, gives you a little bit of insight on it. You know, if you're in the market for a pole saw. So anyway, folks, thanks for checking the vid if you did, and we'll catch you on the next one. Till next time.